we've been running a series of webinars for teachers in terms of our CPD January, and this is the second one actually in a row. And this webinar will be devoted to 5 techniques to become a reflective teacher. So this was elicitation, guided discovery, micro teaching, and reflection and scaffolding. Yeah, that's it. And to start, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our team. So this is Language-like team. Our community is very reputative, and we invite a lot of teachers all around the world, especially professionals, motivated, ready to share our knowledge and experience from different countries, different backgrounds. And within this community, whom you're going to meet today. Yeah. So this is me, Olga. My name is Olga, and I'm a founder. And I have teacher trainer qualification, and I teach for various variety of classes. I mean, Gabriella. So this is my colleague. She will tell you a little bit more about herself, but I can introduce her as a Cambridge assessor for high-level exams. And she also had master degree in linguistics and CELTA qualified. My colleague Mina, yeah, so you probably read on the chat that she is from Australia. So Mina, you just wave your hand, Gabi. So yeah, so stay you're here. Okay, good. And she's an English teacher. So Mina is very experienced in teaching in different backgrounds. I mean, in Australia, in different countries, in Saudi Arabia, in Turkey, and she knows a lot about cultural differences. And you can ask her questions later about teaching in different cultures. That's one thing you might be interested about. All right, so a couple of things, yeah, probably. So because you're all teachers here, and language-like community is not only for learners, but for teachers who are actually lifelong learners, yeah. And that's why we also run some free webinars. That's not the last one that you can join with us. And we also focus, we have different courses for teachers with different focus. I mean, with Teach Infinity, we focus mostly on methodology, whereas there are lots of things inside this course, which starts on the 3rd of February, and I will tell you a little bit more later. And we have also the course which is called You Deserve It. And this is a course where we focus mostly on the language, but at the same time, you have a chance to teach. Okay, can you switch off the microphone so I hear someone? Thank you. So, I mean, in You Deserve It, you may also upgrade your language, and you may also teach and receive feedback on your teaching. Well, so the plan for today, elicitation and scaffolding. This is what we start with. And I will pass over to Gabriella in a couple of minutes. Then we received the feedback, like the last webinar, so you would like to know a little bit more about our course, Teach Infinity. I may tell you a little bit more about this course. And we go to guided discovery and micro teaching with Mina. And then in between, we will have a break, and we also have a reflection. This is with me, with Olga, and a bonus. So those who stay until the end will get a bonus, and they have an opportunity to ask questions. Okay, right. Yeah, here where we start. So I will pass the floor to Gabriella, yeah, my colleague. Copy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, one more admittance. Okay, okay, brilliant. So first of all, welcome to everyone here. It's nice to virtually meet you. Maybe a couple of words about me. I've been teaching English for about 5 years now, mainly higher level students. And what I really enjoy teaching or just seeing students evolve in would be just them being more able to communicate or better able to communicate their technique and their confidence, basically, to see that develop and progress over the years or the months. So that's what I especially focus on during all my lessons. And yeah, that's no fun facts about me that I would share with you for right now. But I would like to go straight on to my first presentation. So let me share my screen. I'll try to make it as interactive as possible. So to start off with, we're going to start with elicitation. Yeah, eliciting, and then techniques as well. So I hope you can all see my screen. Okay, there we have it. So first of all, as you are all teachers, you're probably familiar with the term itself. But in case you're not, let's have a little repeat of that or a revision of that. So some questions to ask about this elicitation in itself. Within elicitation, who is it that provides the information? What is the role of teachers if we use elicitation? And what would be the benefits for students? So first, I'd like us to imagine a traditional classroom, with didactic manner, where you have the teacher standing in front and he or she, they are telling all the information to the students, and they're just absorbing everything, or hopefully absorbing everything. And then with elicitation, you have a slightly different engagement. So just to give you an example, suppose that you are trying to teach a grammatical structure, since both of you are English teachers, in this case, let's take, for example, you are trying to teach the third conditional. Okay, this is generally something that a lot of students struggle with. So in a traditional manner, one thing you could do, you could put this up on the screen or show this to your students. You would read through it and, okay, did you manage to understand? And off you go off with some exercises. So this would be a very traditional method. In best case scenario, your students will understand it, but if not, they might struggle with it onward as you do the exercises. Now, the difference with elicitation is that, just to give you an idea, let's say you already discussed the second conditional. So they know everything or most things about the second conditional. So you would start with revising that. Yeah, you give an example. If I studied harder, I would pass all my exams. Then you go over the structure again. So this is all building on knowledge that your students already have. And then you, bit by bit, start to introduce the third conditional. Yeah, you give them an example, which is basically the same example as you had in the second conditional, except it's slightly different in structure. If I had studied harder, I would have passed all my exams. So you would normally start with, well, what is the difference in meaning? So how does it mean something different than in the second conditional? Yeah, you would go around the meaning. Then you would elicit the structure. Yeah, so if you had in this part if and past simple for the second conditional, well, what do you have here? Yeah, here you have if, and then you have past perfect, and then what do you have in the second part? Yeah, so you use their prior knowledge to build on it. Yeah, so this would be the main idea. So the question here again, who is the one who provides the information? Kind of the teacher, but really they provide the guide. Yeah, and then basically the students are the ones who discover the information. And in the end, they are the ones who provide the information. Because you as the teacher, you just elicit. You just draw on the information from them that you just guided them to. What is the role of teachers in elicitation? If you use this method, you are basically the guide. Yeah, you are leading them on this journey. You are showing them new things. You are opening up new pathways for them. And the benefits for students, they are countless. So just as an idea, if you have used elicitation or if you would like to use it, what do you think might be some benefits for students? And I'd like to ask you just in a few words in the chat room so that more of you could have access to tell us some ideas. What would you say might be some benefits for students if we use elicitation? Any ideas are welcome. There are no incorrect answers, no wrong answers, anything based on your experience or your ideas. Engagement, very good. Thank you, Olga. Brilliant. Feeling of achievement, very good. They definitely have more of a sense of achievement. Excellent. There are plenty of benefits. Yes, yes, very good. Very good, Irina. Motivation, critical thinking, very good, very good. All of these are excellent answers. Brilliant. Very good. Okay. Excellent. Now, couple more things. So definition, not necessarily a definition, but basically a step-by-step description. What happens? The teacher kind of presents some information, or just not gives the information, so to speak, but presents a structure, yeah, or the basic idea. They build on the students' background knowledge. Yeah, it's very important that you use all the knowledge that your students already have. And then your students will be able to link the new knowledge that you want to transfer to everything they already have. And if they do that, they are able to make this association. If they are able to make this connection, they are more likely to remember all this and be able to apply it. And as you said, to understand the concept more deeply. Okay. And then we have different techniques. I'm definitely not going to present everything. That would be too much, but just a few, just to get some ideas going here. First one would be, let's say, pictures. Yeah, they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and in language teaching, we can definitely say that. One big advantage with using pictures in our classes is that they are not dependent on language. So when you put a picture or a collage of pictures in front of your students, they don't have to decode the language. They don't spend any time trying to understand what that sentence or what that text is about. They are ready to interpret it. And they can already build on experience they already had. So they are more readily able to understand a concept. Yeah, and it also frees up processing time because they don't have to spend all that time trying to understand the text. They can already think and try to think of this new concept or this new skill. So just as a little exercise for you, I have a picture here, a collage of pictures. And let's say if you wanted to use this in your classroom as a teacher, what kind of information could you try to elicit from your students? If you only just look at this picture, be creative, use your imagination. So what information would you try to get from your students? And again, you can use the chat room. Any ideas are welcome. Again, no right or wrong answer. Could potentially be about certain jobs. Vocabulary, yes. Hospital vocabulary as well, very good. Yeah, some topics, and there's a whole variety of topics they could discuss here, very good. Cooking, excellent. Descriptive words, very good ideas. New skills to learn, very good. Excellent ideas. Okay, very good. So even in this case, traveling, discussion, different actions. So as you can see, the list is almost endless. endless possibilities with pictures, especially if you use several pictures that belong to the same topic. That even increases your possibilities. So that would be a great idea to use in your classes. Okay, another technique might be using actions. Yeah, demonstrations, doing role plays, or using videos and then using some actions. These might also be excellent ideas. So what I have here now is just a very, very short video. It's about 2 minutes long, so it's definitely not long. I'd like us to watch it together. And as you watch it, try to think of what kind of activities could you connect to this video. So let's say you have your students watch this video, and what kind of activities could you build on it to elicit information from this video, to elicit some skills, some words, some vocabulary from this video. Okay, so just 1 second, let me share sound. And okay, hopefully you'll be able to hear everything. Okay, here it is. So as I said, about 2 minutes.
Good morning. Welcome to the Transnational Hotel. What can I do for you?
Good morning. My name is Tom Sanders. I have a reservation for a single room for 3 nights.
All right, Mr. Sanders, let me pull up your reservation. I can't seem to find a record of your booking. Did you book the room directly through us, or do you use a hotel reservation service or a travel agent?
Well, I booked it directly through you. I've already also paid a deposit on the first night. I have a reservation number if that helps.
Yeah, sure. Can I see that, please? Thank you. Oh, I see. Maybe there was a glitch with the booking system. Well, we don't have any more single rooms available, with the exception of one adjoined room, but you would then be right next door to a family with children, which might get noisy. But that's not a problem. I can upgrade you to one of our business suites. They all come with jacuzzis.
Oh, that sounds nice. But how much more is that going to cost?
That would, of course, be at no extra charge to you.
Oh, well, thank you.
My pleasure.
What about the wireless internet?
Oh, it's really easy. This is your access code and instructions on how to use it. If you have any problems, feel free to call the front desk. And this is a list of all the hotel amenities, like the gym and the indoor pool.
Ah, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Has the valet already taken your car, or will you be needing a parking pass?
Oh, I don't have a car. I took a taxi direct from the airport.
Oh, all right. Could I have some form of ID, please? And could you just fill out this registration form?
Sure. Here's my driver's license.
Thank you. Oh, you're from San Francisco.
Yes, I am, all the way from the West Coast.
I hope you had a good trip.
Yes, I did. Thank you. The flight was long, but it was smooth, and I slept almost the whole way.
Oh, and is this your first time in the Big Apple?
Yes, it is. I have a business conference to attend, but I'm looking forward to getting some sightseeing done as well.
Well, I'd be more than happy to give you some sightseeing tips if you need any.
Thank you.
All right, I've got you all checked into your room. This is your room key. You're in room 653. Just take the elevator on the right up to the 6th floor. When you get off the elevator, turn right. Your room is at the end of the corridor on the left-hand side. Just leave your suitcase here and the bellboy will bring it up.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
If you need anything, please feel free to dial the front desk. Enjoy your stay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that was our short little video. And let me put it back on the screen. Okay, so again, the chat room is open. What kind of activities, actions, role plays, demonstration, what could you build on this video? Any ideas? Yeah, role play. That's probably the easiest one. Train special words for the hotel's administrators. That's excellent. Excellent. What a good way to watch the video and see them interact live. Hotel reservation dialogue. Checking in for travelers. How to solve role play. Very good. functional language, engagement, role play. Excellent. Very, very good ideas here. And basically, you can use any kind of ideas, any kind of videos as a basis for your demonstration, asking the students about their experience. Very good. Excellent ideas. Okay, very good. So this is always a good thing for elicitation, yeah, because you are there, but you are not giving the information. Yeah, you are giving some basic concepts maybe, and then you are waiting for the students to come up with the information or tell you the information. They discover it for themselves. Very good. Okay. Another important aspect or technique, basically, to elicit information from students might be guided questions. Yeah, with guided questions, you have to be very wise and smart about asking questions, yeah, in a wise and careful manner, and to guide the students by that to the end point or to the end result where you would like them to land. Yeah, so effective questioning. In order to reach that, you should try to ask as many questions as possible and make sure that you don't expect an answer in the first 3 seconds. So depending on the language learner's levels of the language knowledge, yeah, they would need some time to process the question. So you would have to give them some wait time. And very important, there are different types of questions you can ask them, and you have to decide which ones are appropriate for this particular lesson or for this particular skill. Yeah, different ones. I have some examples as well. So one of them would be to check understanding. Yeah, would be this one. So if you read a text or if you watched a video, you listened to something, you can check that they understood that. Or if you are seeking justification, yeah, this can be also sometimes with a grammar bit, with some reading bits, yeah. Why do they think what they think? Can they look for some evidence? Can they show you some evidence, so to speak? Yeah. Then you can also ask for more details in a piece of reading, for example, or in listening. Yeah, ask for more details. Creative thinking, endless possibilities here. Creative thinking can be used in any skill. Yeah, and it's a very good skill to develop for students. And then summing up, again, if you give them a nice text to read through, what is the main message for them? What is the main idea for them? Yeah. So depending on the context, you decide on what question type they might need. And on to some more questions. The reason why this would be a very good thing to use is, as I said before, you have this traditional didactic manner, didactic classroom, where the teacher is standing in the front giving all the information. Well, opposite to that is this constructivist classroom, yeah, whereby you bring in some problems, you bring in some questions, and therefore the students will be more engaged. Yeah, they're not going to just be laid back and expect all the information to just flow in. Yeah, they have to work for it, so they will be more engaged, more active. And it's definitely more of a student-centered learning, yeah, because they will be at the forefront of everything that is happening in that class. Okay. And we have, again, different types of questions, and we should be careful with how we use them. For example, we can have structured and open-ended questions. Structured questions are, for example, you can only have one answer to it. For example, if you ask them, what is the capital of France? It's really a structured one. There is one answer, there's a predetermined answer, and once someone says it, nobody else needs to say anything. Yeah, so it's factual information that relies on what they've memorized. However, if you have open-ended questions, there is no expected answer, and everything is already based on what your students already know. Yeah, their experiences, their feelings, their understanding of different concepts. So an open-ended question could be, let's say, what are the advantages and disadvantages of living in the city, for example? Yeah, there is no right or wrong answer. Yeah, it's open-ended. Again, endless answers could flow in. Another type of questions would be convergent and divergent questions. Again, convergent questions, factual, typically factual, like in which form of the verb do you use in past simple? Yeah, past participle, as simple as that. in the past perfect. So there's only one answer, one correct answer. And very often, if you ask convergent questions, many students will fear raising up their hands because they're like, oh, I'm not sure if this is right. Maybe I'm making a mistake. And students are usually afraid of making mistakes, yeah? And as soon as someone tells the right answer, nobody else needs to say or think about anything, yeah? When you have divergent questions, again, you are encouraging all the students to respond, to react, to be active, to engage in it, yeah? And again, you could say, what is the difference between organic and all natural food? And then they build on what they already know, their experiences, and they don't feel like they're going to make a mistake because clearly you are expecting all sorts of answers from everyone. Okay, and then last type, again, two different types of questions. We have lower level versus high level cognitive questions. Yeah, lower level cognitive questions, again, have they memorized what they had to memorize? Let's say the verb forms. Yeah, everybody at some point needs to learn the verb forms for the irregular verbs. And then that's basically lower level cognitive question in a sense, because it's something you've memorized and you've applied, brief response, that's it. With higher level cognitive questions, they have to be more engaged. It requires some critical thinking. They have to analyze it a little bit. And it always generates a discussion. Or in best case scenario, most cases, it generates discussion. And that's definitely something you want in your classes. Okay. And finally, some tips. Depending on your classes, on your classroom, on your students, lots and lots of students, unfortunately, are not used to voicing their opinions for fear of making a mistake, for fear of criticism. So you have to make sure that you create this atmosphere. So maybe start off with some questions where you know for sure they will know the answer, so they don't have this frustration in them. And as you do that, you are developing their confidence. And the more confident they are, the more they will answer your questions and the more they will be open to discuss things. Very important to leave time for them to analyze, reflect on the question. So don't wait for them to respond instantly. Yeah, it's very important that you give them time to reflect, to process. Also, whatever questions you may have, you have to make sure you prepare them in advance. Because if you do it last minute, maybe it's not going to be the right question. Maybe it's not going to guide them in the right direction. Yeah, so make sure you have maybe not every single question, but as you prepare for your lesson, try to have some questions prepared in advance. And choose the level of the difficulty of the question. Yeah, what level is your learner at? What kind of vocabulary do they already know? And try to use that. Try to make sure that your question requires vocabulary that they are familiar with. Yeah, or at least most of it. Yeah. So these would be some final tips for elicitation. Yeah. Any questions about this so far? About elicitation as a technique? Or should we move forward to scaffolding? Or do we have questions at the very end? How you planned it? Whether it's questions at the very end or at the end of every presentation? Yeah. Okay.
We will probably would go forward, and so we'll have like questions in the end. Yeah, let's move on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Then make sure you note down any questions in case you have any. Now, the next one, I won't spend as much time simply because these two methods, techniques, are very, very similar. So scaffolding as a technique, I'll just show you a picture that tells you exactly what it is. So literally, this is what scaffolding is. Yeah. So when they are trying to build a new building, then they need all of these structures to make sure that the builders are safe and they can build and do all the finishing touches on the building structure. And that's basically what scaffolding is in itself as you are teaching a language. Yeah. The first step is you offer support. Yeah. You are like this structure. You are trying to offer support to the learners as much as you can in the beginning. as they are acquiring new knowledge, new skills, or they're trying to understand a new concept. And as they gather more and more experience or more confidence, so to speak, you kind of step back. And at the end, right, even with getting a building done, as soon as they are done with the finishing touches, the scaffolding, all the structure disappears. And it's kind of the same with us as teachers. We are there to guide, to support. And as they become more confident in their skills and in this new knowledge that they've acquired, you kind of step back and let them be in the spotlight and do what they have to do. Okay. And it's basically this theory of I do, we do, and then you do it alone. And there's also in between this, you do it together. Yeah. So basically, the student is not left on their own. Yeah, they are never on their own. They have support, they have guidance, but slowly, they start to do it independently. And in the end, they are able to cope with it on their own. Yeah. So whether we are talking about writing something or interpreting a text or understanding grammatical structures, first they have support, they do it together, they have guidance, and then in the end, they are able to do it on their own. Yeah, so this increases their confidence again. Here are some benefits, and all of them are literally, well, let's just say it helps them, students, best. To retain information for longer. Yeah, it's easier for them to remember everything they learn. It's also a bridge between all their past experience and their past knowledge, what they have already acquired. Yeah, and it builds on it. It's like a Lego. Yeah, it builds on it and it fills the gaps, basically. They will definitely be more engaged. They will be more active. They will become more independent in their learning and in their character, in their person as well, which is always a good thing. They will be less frustrated because they won't see it as a big task that they can't accomplish on their own, but something that they can work on together. So yeah, it won't have any negative effect on their self-confidence, but the opposite. They will become more confident. And of course, there is more communication in this case between teachers and students. Yeah, because it's not just the teacher sitting in front, but the teacher is kind of giving control bit by bit to students. So there's more communication, which is also something you want in your classroom. Okay, and some steps to get this scaffolding technique down. You have to make sure there is a concept in your head first before you start teaching it to your students. Yeah, so you try to come up with the concept, and you have to make sure that when you explain it, it's at the level of the students, that they will understand it. It's not more complex, but it's not too simplified either. Yeah, it's at their level. Then you have to present them with an approach. Let's say you want to teach them to write an essay or a letter. Yeah, you have to model it. Yeah, you have to show it to them how it's done. And you would break all your directions into small chunks. So you don't tell them a list of 10, 15 instructions all at once, but okay, first we're going to do this and this. And then we're going to do steps 3 and 4. Yes, so you have to divide it into smaller chunks. And as they are completing it, yeah, you are there for support, for guidance, and you talk through the task. Yeah. And then you put them into groups where they can work together. Yeah, there is communication there. They can support each other. And while they are working, you are constantly giving them tips and tricks. Yeah. So as they are working, you are not stepping back completely. Yeah. You are still approachable. You are still checking on them and giving them tips. Now, just a couple of strategies. As I said, not too much because it is quite similar to elicitation, so I wouldn't want to take too much of your time. But as I said, modeling, yeah? How to do something is something that you have to show it to them before they can do it for themselves. Whether it's just, as I said before, teaching them how to write an essay or a letter, or the other one, maybe you want to, with the role play, as we saw before, yeah? How can you make reservations, for example? So you would present this dialogue, maybe with a stronger student, And then that would be modeling it. And then they can be, they are able to do it themselves. Yeah. Another one would be to use their prior knowledge. Yeah. No matter their level, yeah, students are never blank slates. They always have some experience, well, not just some, a lot of experiences in different topics and knowledge in different topics. Maybe not in the given language, but they do have knowledge. Yeah. So it's very wise if you try to connect these, and they will retain the information that you teach them a lot quicker. Yeah. So it's all about connecting the old information, or not the old one, but the already acquired information with the new things you want to teach. Then talking about it. Yeah, very important. Again, you have to give them time to reflect. Yeah, whatever task you give them or whatever questions you may ask them, you have to give them some time to think about it, process it, analyze it. And then let's say we have two different ways to do it depending on your classroom structure. Think, pair, share, basically. This is appropriate all ages, all levels. Yeah, you put your students into pairs, ideally. So first they think about an issue, a problem, a question on their own. Then they discuss it with someone. And then it can become an open class discussion. Yeah, with older students and more advanced students, these are called Socratic seminars. So for example, a longer text or something of the sort. And then they would have to try and analyze it. Yeah, they analyze it, they try to prepare some ideas, and then you come with the open-ended questions. And then you have an extended discussion where they try to understand the ideas from that text. And very important, when scaffolding, whatever text, new text you are presenting to your students, make sure that you build up the vocabulary that they need, especially if you know that it's going to pose some challenges, because most likely they've never heard those specific words, those specific phrases. So make sure that you build that into them, and make it fun. Yeah, so it shouldn't be just, okay, this is what this means, this is what this means, but try to come up with maybe a matching, a matching exercise, or just some sort of exercise to get them going, to get them into a creative thinking zone. Yeah, and then you can bring up the given topic, the given text, the given grammar bit, or whatever it is that you are about to teach them. Yeah, so make sure that there is a basis or a foundation for the vocabulary. Okay, and again, the summary: if you want your students to become independent learners, yeah, so they are not always dependent on you as a teacher, but they can acquire all this knowledge on their own as well, or they can help it out on their own as well. If you want to create a learning environment that supports your teachers and your students, and you want them to be more active and engaged, this is a very good technique. And the very good thing is, you don't have to simplify the task. You just have to make sure you present it in a way that they will understand it. Yeah, so your high expectations can remain. You don't have to lower your expectations. You just simplify the task, basically. And again, they will be less frustrated, your students, with not knowing or not being sure of things. Okay, and that's pretty much it for scaffolding as well. So I think I'll just stop sharing, and thank you for your attention so far. Hope it wasn't too long. Okay, there we go. And Olga, back to you, I guess.
Yeah, it was not too long. It was very nice and lots of ideas, I think, to digest. And we actually have a question to you, Gabi. Olga is asking, could you give an example of low-level questions, I suppose, yeah? When you were talking about elicitation.
Yes, lower-level questions. Lower-level questions, that would be, all I can think of now is grammar, teaching different grammar bits. But let's say, for example, if you are teaching the passive, for example, about the structure, yeah, or reported speech, again, about structure, like what changes, how do the tenses change in reported speech? Like normally, you know, they go one back. So that would be something that, if you've explained it to them, if you've already talked about reported speech, then this is something they would know. Yeah, so that would be a lower level question where they don't need to analyze it too much. It's something that they've hopefully already understood. And it's the higher level questions that would be a good idea to ask once you've gone through lower level questions. I'm not sure if that answers your question.
Yeah, I think yes, sir. And just to add to your idea, on the chat, on Telegram, so actually you may join our Telegram if you're not there. So language like we sort of elicit from you, yeah? So can you elicit things students don't know? And remember, guys, elicitation, so you may ask questions only about the information students really know. You can't elicit what students don't know. So this is actually a very good technique for you to make sure to make diagnostic, so that whether your student know or don't know, understands. You are just checking with this technique, but you're checking what the student already know. Okay, this is really, really important things about elicitation. Maybe you have some more questions. So. If not, so let us proceed to maybe a little bit getting to know you better, and let me elicit a couple of things from you. So I start with sharing. Yeah, so I don't know too much about each of you, but you're, as a learner and as a teacher, you're probably taking your journey on ends. You might be here because you need to update your methodology. Or another reason, you may join our webinar and just you're like interested in professional development. You would like to design either fantastic materials, or maybe you want to run a course. Who knows? Maybe you would like to specialize, like you're teaching young learners or maybe general English, and you would like to go into ESP and start teaching, for example, business English, or for exams, or for whatever. So maybe your priority would be like, I want to know what teachers around the world are doing, and that is fine. So we can tell you a little bit about our experience as well. Or maybe you need to make your grammar more meaningful, maybe more interesting. Where are you now? So could you put the numbers on the chat? So 1, 2, there may be a couple of them. Or if there is no, like something that you are on, you may just write your own idea. Okay, so 1 and 2. Methodology is the leader. So that's something, yeah. So we need to refresh every time. That's actually good. 4 and 6. Specialize from Irene. Yeah, good. So just before you, as you mentioned, so I asked you because I actually didn't know whether I need to tell you about it or not, but as you all guys mentioned about methodology and so all other things, I will tell you a little bit about the course we are going to run on February the 3rd. This is Teach Infinity course, and then we'll continue with the third and fourth technique, micro teaching and guided discovery. So this is a little bit about the course structure. This is our course, Teach Infinity. Okay, so this is really important. It actually starts on February the 3rd. And I know that Irene is already on this course. It is 3 months, that is exactly 12 weeks long. And this is a course that we run in an international team. So we have invited guests, invited speakers for this course. So you have live Zoom meetings, which are 1.5 hours long, and there are 10 meetings on this course. And a part of it, you have also inputs, 24 videos, so on Zen class on the platform. And we also give you the opportunity to come to our classes, to observe our classes, and with a specific focus. We give you some focus where you refresh methodology in a practical way. So you just see how we do it, understand whether it's a good way for you or not. Would you like to put it into your pocket or may just use it in your class? And you also have a lot of practical tasks, and we give you personalized feedback on this course and reflections. So this is really, really important technique, and we will talk about reflections in the end of this webinar. Telegram chat, sure. Bonus materials, of course. And what is, this is sort of a format, and what is inside the course? Inside we have 8 modules, like within these 3 months. This is intense. At the beginning, so we want you to change your mindset, because you come, you join our course, you're just one person, and you finish, you're leaving the course, you're a different person. And that's why we need to talk a little bit about not fixed mindset, but growth mindset. And we'll do a lot of things together. Then we have self-efficacy module, where you have a lot of things to work on, and about teaching both online and offline. So you see, these are 3, 4, 5, 6 in pink, because they are devoted to methodology. So we will be dealing with effective lessons, productive and receptive skills. You will have lots of constructors, how to build your class, and we will read your lesson plans, and we will watch your teaching, and we will discuss and give you feedback on you teaching. And within this, you probably choose a different specialism. Probably you would choose something different apart from what you've been doing previously. It's not necessarily that you teach young learners and you keep teaching young learners on this course. No, you may try to come and start teaching, I don't know, maybe advanced group. So if that is your priority, or you may choose another focus, so we can help you here. So, and we may see what you really need with it. Also, for those who are more advanced and who can just digest it, so we may look at how to design your own course, and how to exactly, especially what not to do at the start, and how to also market it in a way, because we have experience of doing these things. Well, and of course, so there will be the last model when you're ready for many things. So could I ask you to switch off the microphone? Because, okay, thank you. And then in the end, so we will talk about financial mindset. We'll also prepare your CPD plan, professional development plan, for this year, so that you may go and you start this transformation. So, and the living party.
Да.
So Irene, this is the information. I haven't sent you a plan yet, but yes, I will do it tomorrow. So 26th of April, that will be a living party. So when we just say goodbye, but we are not saying goodbye for like forever. So because normally we did this course last year, and so we still communicate with the tutors so who took part, who were on our Teach Infinity course last year. And that's it. So all in all, very, very briefly, so what is this course about? The first model, yeah, growth mindset. So you may look where you start. So you need to identify your teacher beliefs, determine your strengths and weaknesses. We also set your professional and financial priorities. That's important, really, for the upcoming year. And we will decide on the key areas of growth. As a result of this model, so we will design your own CPD, we will discuss it. You will also think of kind of students you would like to start teaching, yeah. And the course will be in English, and of course that is a nice chance for you not to take to upgrade your level, of course. So just that's for sure, because they will have much more practice, and all practice will be in English. You will get support from professional tutors, certified Cambridge tutors, and definitely so be part of our community already. So yeah, and if you are interested, I will go through the next 3 to 8 models very, very briefly, just not to keep you long here. Will definitely, the focus of these models will be deep knowledge of subject matter and methodology. We'll give you sort of a guidance oriented ELT where you can find, because you might get lost at many things. There are so many things. So, and also will teach you to use different classroom management methods and different needs, and understand the key aspects of lesson planning. This is crucial because sometimes we are not confident how to construct, how to build the lesson to make it most effective. And of course, we'll familiarize you with a variety of teaching methods we use, and so teachers use. As for professional experience, I told you there will be a lot of observations, like we watch you, you watch us, and planning, so lessons, teaching the lessons, delivering, working on your delivery styles, and adjusting a lot of things. Well, so that's, as we mentioned, that is, will brush up on your pedagogy to stay relevant, development of teaching skills, and develop adaptability, communication, and innovation, and gain confidence. That is all about it. So just this is the most, maybe not the least, but this is one of the most important things for you to know, that in the end you will work on your financial mindset. So you will have diversification income plan. Also, for those who are advanced, as I mentioned, there will be an opportunity to develop your own course and to see where you can develop. So in what area, so you have some strengths and you can go further with it. This is the start, February the 3rd one. The finish, I told you, 26th of April. The current price is here. So that is for 12 weeks. We used to have early bird prices, and probably in the end, so I will share a promo code for which I opened for 3 days, like back to early prices. That means that actually per month you pay 21,663 rubles. But actually, if you divide it per week, that is much less. Yeah, you see, this is. And all you get is mentoring, tailor-made materials, and so course design, knowledge on course design. And this is what I would like to tell you about what we're currently running. I mean, we have a lot of courses, short courses, but you may check our website and see if you are interested. And I wonder whether we need a short break, or I can pass over to Mina to continue with the 3rd technique. So just maybe we may decide it on the comments, the chat. So do we need a break, or are we ready to continue? How would it be? So how tired are you? So are you tired, or you may just continue with, and we will finish so earlier. How would you like to be? We do need a break from, okay, so anyone else? Yeah, we do. Ready to continue. Oh, it's okay, 50-50. Ready. Continue. Okay. Oh, honestly, so we have like People divided. So what shall we do? Okay, so if Ludmila is the last, let's continue because just all right. So Mina, the floor is yours.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Mina, and I'm from Australia, but currently I'm living in Istanbul, Turkey. I have been teaching for 15 years now. I'm an English language teacher, and I have been teaching all levels, starting from kindergarten, including university. And my major, my specialization is linguistics, English language, which is based on acquiring the skills in learning the English language, reading, listening, speaking, writing, and also grammar. And I have taught students from very different cultural backgrounds. I've taught in Australia, United Arab Emirates, and Turkey as well. And so I will be presenting to you guided discovery and micro-teaching. So I'll start with guided discovery first.
What is guided discovery? In guided discovery, we lead the student to find the answer or discover the answer themselves. In this particular technique of teaching, we provide the students with the answers. The students discover the answers themselves. You are just there to guide them through this process. It's a technique where teacher provides examples of a language item and helps the learners to find out the rules themselves. The learners discover the rules using their own methods. In this way, they have a much higher chance of remembering the information. We call this knowledge retention. Learning a new language in this way can also help students, especially adult students, connect new language and knowledge with pre-existing knowledge, thus building upon their skills. Let's practice. We have some examples of if conditionals here. If I were you, I wouldn't go to the party. If I were you, I would study harder. If I were you, I would sleep earlier. These sentences are if conditionals, but we don't tell the rules to the students as they try to discover the structure or rule themselves. So we provide them with the content, and the students explore the content of these statements and they try to figure out the rules themselves. If they are having problems trying to find the rules, then we can step in and guide them through the process, helping them out to reach their goal. So we can ask them, how do we form these sentences? And what do you think they mean? We lead them slowly, gradually to the process of understanding this grammar concept. You can provide them with more examples, or you can ask them to give examples similar to these ones. So for example, we can ask a learner to write the first part, if I were you, without telling them it's verb, subject, object, or whatever. We tell them to rewrite it the same way, if I were you. And then after the comma, we can ask them to reconstruct the remaining part of the sentence. In this way, they can learn easier and remember the structure easier. Another example. For example, you tell your students that in English, we typically add the suffix s to the end of a noun to show plurality. On the board, you write the sentence, I have 1 book and 3 pens. You draw a line under book and pens and ask students to explain what's different. In the first example, we have a traditional teaching method. We are giving the rule as a whole to the student, and they can see what the structure is. But in the second situation, we are not giving the rule of making plural words. We are just underlining the example words in the sentence, and they are figuring out what the plural is and how it is formed themselves. So which method do you think is more engaging for the students? Of course, we would go for the second one. In the second situation, the method is much more engaging for the students as it helps them to learn easier and it helps them to keep the information in their mind much longer than the first way of teaching. The guided discovery method can be used in several ways in an ESL classroom. We can use it when we are teaching new vocabulary, teaching new grammar, making predictions when reading, making predictions on the topic of a lesson, or summarizing a lesson. So, inductive versus deductive teaching. One of the best ways to understand the role of a teacher in a guided discovery lesson is by comparing it to the teacher's role in a more traditional class, such as the one that uses the deductive approach. In the deductive approach, typically the teacher is involved with providing the students with the rule. For example, the teacher gives the general rule for using the past perfect tense and then gives the worksheets or activities. However, if we use the inductive approach, this will involve the student being given a piece of language item. For example, the student would have an example of a past perfect tense statement, and then the student tries to figure out how this tense is formed by looking at the example, and then they find the structure themselves, they discover the rule themselves. Benefits of guided discovery. The guided discovery method has several benefits, such as encourages critical thinking and active learning. It encourages communication and gets students talking. It's likely to lead to higher levels of knowledge retention. Knowledge is learned in a way that is meaningful to each individual student. It is learned by doing. It will be more engaging and fun, encourages a scientific way of learning, and moves away from rote learning and memorization. Of course, there are disadvantages of this method too. The disadvantages are lessons can lose their focus, preparing the correct resources can take longer. This is the one that can make teachers feel a bit less motivated because they need to prepare resources beforehand. But even though it is still worthwhile because your students are going to learn themselves, which is always much better than teaching traditionally. It will require specific eliciting skills from the teacher. So you need to have specific skills. You need to be patient and you need to know that your students will gradually find the answer. The teacher can revert back easily to traditional teaching, realizing that he or she is doing it that way. So we need to be careful that we should not go back to traditional teaching while trying to let our students discover the answer. The method may not always be appropriate for every single language item, so we need to be careful in what we want our students to learn and what their goals would be. But in my opinion, I can say that it has much more advantages than disadvantages. So despite its many benefits, there are disadvantages, which we just talked about. However, I'm going to give you another example, which shows you how worthwhile it is to use in the classroom. For example, you want to introduce new food. You are focusing on vocabulary. You can begin by placing an image of a burger with its surrounding utensils and condiments up on the board. You can ask the students what vocabulary they already know relating to the image to activate their schemas. Then ask the students questions to encourage them to discover new vocabulary, such as, I like to dunk my French fries in tomato ketchup. Here, you can use body language, which would always be helpful in finding out the answer. Can you find the ketchup in my picture? I hate lettuce in my burger. I don't like eating green food. Can you find the letters? Students can then do a vocabulary to image matching activity to cement their learning. Once the activity is complete, students can mark each other's work, and any mistakes or confusion can be discussed as a class, which is very helpful. So, in this kind of situation, we are giving the image and we are using body language to guide the students toward the vocabulary that they will be achieving. And after this activity is done, students can swap papers with each other or swap work with each other and correct each other's mistakes, which is also very helpful in learning. And if there are any confusions or mistakes, these can be discussed freely in the classroom with no hesitation or with no criticism to help the student understand where they have made a mistake, and this will help them to remember the information later on. Now we're going to watch an example video with you. In this example video, we will better understand how guided discovery can be used within a classroom. Let's watch.
Food. What word can come in front of food to describe different kinds of food?
Delicious.
Okay, that's good. Can you think of some more?
Spicy.
Okay, that's nice.
Salty.
Good.
Sweet. Healthy.
What's the opposite of healthy?
Unhealthy.
Francesca?
Unhealthy.
Unhealthy. Okay. Sometimes food's got a lot of something bad in it. What's that?
Fast food.
You can have fast food, yes.
Terrible.
You can have terrible food. Chips and hamburgers have got a lot of what in them? They are fried foods. What have they got inside them? Fat. Okay, they've got a lot of fat in them. What's the word that goes in front of food? It's not fat food. What can you say?
Heavy food.
You can say fatty food. Okay. Ice cream. What's that? Pizza. Can you make a sentence comparing two different kinds of food here? For example, can you compare ice cream and tomatoes? You can think about these words here.
Tomato is more healthy than ice cream.
Okay. First word?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes
Tomatoes.
is
Are.
Okay, good.
are more healthy.
You said more healthy. Can you make that in one word?
Healthier.
Does that? Can you tell her?
Tomatoes are healthier than ice cream.
Okay.
Tomatoes are healthy than ice cream.
Okay, what's the first word?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes
With an S, yes. Tomatoes.
are healthy than
What's this word?
healthy.
Healthier.
Healthy.
Everybody, listen. Healthier.
Healthier.
How many syllables in that? How many syllables? Is it 2 or 3 or 4?
Three.
Healthier.
Three.
Healthier. Healthier. How many is that?
Three.
3. So tomatoes are healthier than
Ice cream.
ice cream. Okay?
Tomatoes are healthier than ice cream.
Good sentence, thank you. Can you make another sentence comparing ice cream and tomatoes? Maybe Bao, you make a sentence?
Tomatoes are delicious than ice cream.
Okay, nice idea. We need to correct the grammar. Okay, what was the first word?
Tomatoes
Okay,
are delicious. More delicious.
ah, good.
More delicious.
Tomatoes are more delicious.
than ice cream.
Okay, whole sentence.
Tomatoes are more delicious than ice cream.
Okay, good. Now whole sentence, quickly.
Tomatoes are more delicious than ice cream.
Very good. Tell everybody.
Tomatoes are more delicious than ice cream.
Is she right?
Yeah.
You agree?
No.
You don't agree? You don't agree? Okay, can you tell her what you think?
Ice cream more delicious than tomatoes. Ice cream. Ice cream. I don't know what I need to use. Is or are?
What do you think?
Ice cream. Ice cream is.
You think is, yes? Yeah, she's right.
Yeah. Ice cream is more delicious than tomatoes.
Okay, ice cream is more delicious. What's this word?
When?
Then.
How do you spell that word?
Then.
How do you spell it?
H-A-N.
T-H-A-N. Listen to the pronunciation. Than ice cream. Than ice cream. Than ice cream. What was your sentence?
Ice cream.
Sorry, it's the other way. It's okay.
Ice cream is more delicious than tomatoes.
Than tomatoes. Ice cream is more delicious than tomatoes. More delicious than tomatoes. Danielle, is she right?
Yeah.
You agree. Okay, now let's make a sentence comparing pizza and cake.
My second method that I would like to talk with you is micro-teaching. Micro-teaching is another method that we can use as teachers to further develop ourselves in our skills and knowledge of teaching. It helps us to find out where we make mistakes and how we can progress further in order to improve our skills and the ways we deliver our lessons to our students. So, what is micro-teaching? Micro-teaching is a training system designed to improve the teaching skills of a teacher, instructor, trainees. It is a scaled-down micro version of actual teaching in which a teacher, instructor, trainee teaches a group of colleagues for a time less than the normal lesson time allocated in an actual teaching situation. So in a normal teaching situation, we have a much longer time, but in a micro-teaching training system, we have much less time, maximum around 15 minutes, in a teacher or an instructor teaches with a group of colleagues. This could be peers, colleagues, or actual students that you teach within a classroom. It's a scaled down micro version of your actual teaching, so we can provide feedback to each other and reteach. And when we reteach, we actually reteach with the feedback that we get from the people that we have been in the teaching situation. Why do we use micro-teaching? Micro-teaching has several benefits. First, because the lessons are so short, usually 5 to 10 minutes. They have to focus on specific strategies. This means that someone participating in a micro-teaching session can get feedback on specific techniques he or she is struggling with. For example, in the first part of my presentation, I was talking about guided discovery. So, for example, in your micro-teaching session, you might like to focus on your guided discovery technique. So, you would tell the people that you are together with, in the teaching situation, that you are going to focus on guided discovery. In this way, the people who are observing you will understand what they are going to focus on. So they will be focusing on how you are delivering guided discovery. And when you are delivering this method, they will understand where you need to improve. They will provide you with feedback. And with that feedback, you can make your guided discovery technique much, much better. So in a pre-service or training situation, participants can practice a newly learned technique as well. Maybe you are learning something new. So rather than working that technique into an entire lesson, you can learn it in isolation as well. Micro-teaching is also an opportunity to experiment with new teaching techniques. Rather than trying something new with a real class, micro-teaching can be a laboratory to experiment and receive feedback first, which I think is the most beneficial part of this method. In micro-teaching, before you step into a real actual classroom with real students, you could use this method with your peers or with your colleagues to experiment first. And while you are experimenting, you can understand where you are confused or where you need further improvement or development. Your peers or colleagues will provide you with feedback that will help you to actually see where you need to have some improvement. Because when we are teaching, we ourselves can't realize where we are making mistakes or where we need to focus more on. Our peers or colleagues will help us to see this better. How does micro-teaching work? In the classic Stanford model, each participant teaches a short lesson, generally 5 to 10 minutes to a small group. The students may be actual students, like in the original Stanford program, or they may be peers playing the role of students. In the case of pre-service teachers and teaching assistants, there generally is at least one expert. As well, if desired, the session can be videotaped for review at a later date. So if you are teaching with your peers or with your colleagues, there should be at least one expert or professional who is actually very well in this area to help you further progress. The presentation is followed by a feedback session, which is very important. The feedback or the positive criticism that we receive will help us in our teaching skills. In some cases, the feedback session can be followed by a reteach so that the instructor has an opportunity to practice the improvements suggested during feedback. It is very important that you reteach actually. So when you receive your feedback or your criticism, you should actually reteach so that you are applying that feedback into your new structure. So what you learn should be actually applied within a new context. Giving feedback is hard. Receiving criticism is hard for all of us. Setting a tone of respect and professionalism may help participants to be tactful and to keep feedback constructive. Feedback should be constructive and based on observation rather than judgments. A good example of feedback is you fidget with your pen while talking, and that is distracting, rather than you seem nervous and unprepared. So, as you can see in both statements, there is a difference. In the first statement, we are just focusing on the action of the person. You fidget with your pen while talking. This feedback is just entirely focusing on the behavior or on the action of the student or teacher. It is not focusing on how the teacher is or how the student is. As in the second example, you seem nervous and unprepared. This This is targeted directly towards the teacher themselves or the student themselves as a character, maybe. So that's why it's important we don't make statements like this, as this can make the person feel inferior and unmotivated. So rather than focusing on the person, we are focusing on the person's actions or behaviors at that time on what they're doing. The first comment is about observable behavior, while the second is a judgment about what that behavior means. We are not focusing on the person's behavioral meanings. We are just focusing on the action. Commenting on observable behavior also leads to suggestions for improvement. Again, using our pen example, a better example of feedback would be, you fidget with your pen while talking. Perhaps it would be better to keep a hand in your pocket. So if you want to further help this person with their behavior that's distracting, you can give some suggestions. So if someone is fidgeting with their pen, they can put it away or maybe keep it in their pocket. So in the Stanford model, feedback was given using a 2+2 system. Each participant started their feedback with 2 positive comments, followed by 2 suggestions for improvement. This gives the instructor a sense of his or her strengths as well as areas of improvement. Now, this is very, very important. You must always provide the learner or teacher, while they're doing their micro-teaching, with 2 positive comments. They should hear their positive comments first. Whoever it is, if it's the learner or the teacher, hearing 2 positive comments will actually get them ready to learn how they can improve themselves. We are actually constructing the background for further suggestions. So giving positive feedbacks is important. Then you can follow this up with 2 suggestions. You might say to this person, you should do it this way. It will make you feel better, or you should do it this way to improve your skill, and so on. This will help for further development. So we have a short video about micro-teaching, which helps us to further understand what it involves and how to go about it. We can watch it with you together. conducting the lesson. Once the planning is done according to the targeted skill, the pupil teacher teaches the planned lesson to the group of students. These lessons are observed by the supervisor and pupil teachers. They could be videotaped, audio taped, or televised through a camera. These tapes are later used for self-evaluation as well. And finally, discussion and conclusion. Once the teaching session comes to an end, it is followed by a concluding session. Concluding session consists of feedback by the supervisor. During this session, the audio or video recording may also be displayed in order to give an opportunity to evaluate oneself. Moreover, it also boosts the confidence level of the trainee. It is the best way to reinforce the trainee to work better the next time. So in this part, we are evaluating the teacher on how to be better next time. So once they receive this feedback, they can reteach and apply the improvements that he or she has made. So the cycle is as it is seen here. We plan first. We make our lesson plan. What are we teaching? Which skill are we teaching? To understand this first. Who are we teaching to? What is our targeted audience? And how long will I teach? Then we actually teach our lesson. Afterwards, we receive our feedback from our peers, colleagues, learners, students. We receive the feedback, and then with this feedback and suggestions of improvement, we replan. We replan the lesson, and we reteach, applying these suggestions, feedback, or improvements, and we get feedback again. So it's a cycle that continues until you feel confident with your teaching skills and your way of teaching.
Yes, sorry, I want to ask, like, what does it mean reteach?
Yes.
What is because I first time that.
Sorry, what did you ask? What was the meaning of what?
Reteach from your presentation. There's a circle, like it's a new meaning of teaching.
Oh, reteach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Reteach is like when you first plan and you teach according to your plan, and then you get feedback from your peers or you get feedback from your students, and you use that feedback to replan your lesson. And when you replan your lesson, you reteach that skill or grammar concept again, and you receive feedback again. This is the main purpose of micro-teaching. Yes, I have tried. There was a question saying if I tried micro-teaching myself. Yes, I have tried it many times, and it's very helpful because sometimes you can't see your flaws, and when somebody else sees it, when they observe you, it's much easier to further progress your skills and your concept, and it really helps a lot. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Mina. And actually, I agree. This is really helpful technique for a teacher, especially for a teacher who starts, not necessarily actually, it can be done at any point of your professional development. Why it is so useful? Yeah, because you just don't need to teach the whole lesson, right? Just imagine 60 minutes for mastering one technique. Imagine you're focusing on, I don't know, giving instructions, yeah? And this is your focus, and you would like to make it perfect. You just do this one until this is perfect in 5 or 10 or so minutes, yeah, and then you're done with it. You've got this achievement, a sense of achievement within a short time, and you bring this sense of achievement in your classroom, 60 minutes, 90 minutes or so, and that is very positive. By the way, could you use your charts and say whether you used micro-teaching or not, or if no, would you like to use it? Would you like to practice this? Okay. So yeah, meaning that you would like to practice, yeah? Or yeah, meaning that you have practiced, Helen. Okay, okay. You have? Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, now, Marina. That's good. So yeah, if you really want to practice, we offer this opportunity. Yes, Irene, with Teach Infinity course. Yeah, that is something was on my mind to say. We are going to have this practice to give you the opportunity to practice micro teaching on Teach Infinity course, which will start soon. Okay, you have one thing left, but this is something that we as teachers need to incorporate into our life, and we can't skip it. Reflection has already told you that it's like a part and parcel of teaching skill. Think a little bit. Why to reflect, what to reflect on, and maybe how, and maybe you already know and you use it in your practice. Okay, when you have it in your mind, I give you an exercise, a practical task. So to reflect on our webinar. So think a little bit about what you are taking away with you. What will be in your pocket when you go back to your classroom? What will be your key? And what will it open? What will be your nut? And what will it put together? Compass. How will it guide you? So just revise what we did today, starting from eliciting, then scaffolding, then probably someone would say that you've learned about an interesting course you would be a participant on, and that would also be a part of reflection. Maybe a trump card. What will be your trump card? How are you going to use it? I give you, let's say, 4 questions, 4 minutes to think now and put your answers on the chat. I ask you to do it now, not to leave it, because we are living in a hectic life, and so we sometimes don't have time to stop and think. And this is exactly the moment when you need to do this. Okay. So you need to respond to 4 questions, and these will be your answers based on what you've learned today. There shouldn't be that much, probably 1 or 2 ideas for each point. Really nice idea, Marina. Mhm. Really, really nice. So just read your idea, and you probably think, what will it open? So just imagine if you reached your goal, what would it lead to? Mhm. Mhm. Happy to hear it, Marina. Yeah. Just you may look at it on the site, or maybe so come to an in-depth meeting to know more. Mhm. Okay, Helen has mentioned videos, and this is a nice example of scaffolding, yeah, because tutors gave you these videos as models, and remember, Gabi has mentioned so that there might be a model, and it's not necessarily that should be a model for writing an essay, yeah, it could be a model of functional language like we did today. Very nice. Oh. Model feedback. Yes, that's positive. So we all know about it, yeah, but we often forget. And it's always good to have someone to remind you about it. So your students will be happy and grateful for it, for sure. Okay, finish where you are. Yeah, Irene, so you finished. That's good through feedbacks. Right. That's good. That's good. This is a nice exercise. Whenever you attend any workshop, any webinar, any short course, always stop and think, what is your key? What is your knot? And because if you don't do this, you probably would not process the information. You will get only input and there won't be any procession and then no output as a result. As we have just done this reflection, you probably ask why? Why should I incorporate it into every course? And I have some answers for you. So we need to reflect because this is our need. It's just our need and should be a priority. As I told you about this input processing and output. This is this idea. What else? Yeah. We also need to examine and we need to develop our critical thinking in order to make rational judgments based on it. Of course, it will give you a better insight into what other people know if you are a teacher, yeah, and you ask your learners to reflect on something. This is another side of the model. Actually, it will give you a better understanding what you already know and what things you need to enhance, improve. Yeah? That might be another thing to consider, whether to incorporate reflection into your teaching and learning or not. And of course, it is very, very engaging. So to develop this skill, but that is something that you develop through all your life. That can't be done like, on the spot at the moment. Okay, some more things that you can reflect, the way you can reflect. You can reflect on practice. So that is, for example, your day or maybe some activity. On reflection. So I really recommend you to use free writing. So when you just sit and stop and you close the door and you take a piece of paper and you are writing for about maybe, I don't know how many, for 4 minutes without paying attention to punctuation or whatever, just your ideas and you are with it. These are a couple of exercises that you will receive in presentations that you may use in reflection. And we are finishing, yeah. I have a file, so a Google form. I'm going to send you it right now on the chat. This will be our exit ticket, guys. I would like you to fill in this exit ticket to get a bonus from us. So I don't know, you decide what you want to get. So this is something that you may either get a certificate of attendance, or you may just get a book an in-depth 3-minute interview and to know more about our courses, because the goal of our webinar was to give you more knowledge than to introduce our courses. But still, if you are interested to go to continue learning with us, so we're all for it. And another bonus might be, like for us, you give us a bonus because we like receiving feedbacks and it helps us to develop as professionals. And if you just write a couple of words on the webinar, on the delivery style, on the content of this webinar, we'll be very, very grateful because we analyze it. Yeah. So, and it this all makes our work much better. Okay, that's probably all from me. So we have some time, yeah. So we're just to see we follow our time, and that's a good webinar management. So we have time for answering the questions. Yeah. anything you would like to ask me related to teaching. That's the chance. Back to you. Good. Have you copied these Google Forms? Have you opened this Google Form? So do you have, is it all fine? Yeah. Yeah, thank you. All right, that's good. So, all right, it was a pleasure to meet you all here and to get familiar with your needs and to be probably helpful to you in a way. That's all from me. So, Gabi, Mina, do you have anything to add?
Thank you for everyone's participation. Sorry about the audio hassle there on Zoom when screen sharing. Sometimes the audio gets a bit fuzzy, so sorry if it wasn't very clear.
Yeah, on my end, just thank you for your participation, for taking the time, and hopefully this will inspire you to do even more, or to become even more, or simply just to reach your full potential using these techniques, or just joining the course Teach Infinity, or whatever you wish. And I wish you all good luck in the future. So yeah.
All right, so thank you everyone for joining, and have a nice evening. So you deserve it. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.